Well, this is a tough one. And we just were making a little tour of the area. It's hard to believe the devastation. Trees that are 100 years old just ripped out of the ground. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen a lot of bad ones. I've gone to a lot of hurricanes, a lot of tornadoes. I've never seen anything like this. This is a bad one. We just visited with incredible families that, I mean, look, they've been devastated. They lost their child or two children, and just hard to believe what, I've never seen anything like it. A little narrow river that becomes a monster. Do you want to take a couple of questions, Governor? Would you want to do that? Do you want to?
Sure.
Is the press going to be respectful of this event, this horrible event, this horrible tragedy? Please, yes. Go ahead, please.
Marissa Atmas here with CBS News Texas. Several families we've heard from are obviously upset because they say that those warnings, those alerts didn't go out in time, and they also say that people could have been saved. What do you say to those families?
Well, I think everyone did an incredible job under the circumstances. This was, I guess Christie said, a 1 in 500, 1 in 1,000 years. And I just have admiration for the job that everybody did. There was just admiration. Only a bad person would ask a question like that, to be honest with you. I don't know who you are, but only a very evil person would ask a question like that. I think this has been heroism. This has been incredible, really, the job you've all done. It's easy to sit back and say, oh, what could have happened here or there, you know. Maybe we could have done something differently. This was a thing that has never happened before, and nobody's ever seen anything. I've never seen anything like this. I've gone to some real bad ones. I've never seen anything like this. So I admire you, and I consider you heroes and heroine. And I think you've done an amazing job.
Now know have killed at least 121 people. 160 are still missing and unaccounted for at this hour as the search continues. So let's start with this audio that we are just getting in. I'm going to play it for you for the first time. Well before the code red, which came all the way, 6 o'clock in the morning or close to then, this is the audio of a volunteer firefighter out there trying to save lives, 3:27 a.m. on Friday morning, July 4th. Listen for yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Just for your 43, the Guadalupe is starting to come up, and Shoemaker is no longer passable at this time.
Talking about roads already being closed, being flooded out. I'm going to speak to the man who recorded all of this in just a moment, because he's the former IT director for Cary County. He helped to install the code red system that's in place. And he said that you just heard, very calmly delivered from that firefighter at 3:27 a.m., though, should have signaled a massive emergency, because what it meant when he said Schumacher is no longer passable meant that emergency responders could no longer get to the city of Hunt from the east. So at that moment, he said that was crucial. And from that moment on, the waters were rising fast.
Respond to 2029, Highway 39, 2029, Highway 39. It's going to be for a water rescue. House callers, house flooded. We're getting multiple calls off of 39. People are stating their houses are flooding. We're trying to advise them to get to higher area.
Multiple calls off that road 39. And then at 4:30, that firefighter on the ground calls in and asks for that formal code red.
Is there any way we can send a code red out to our Hunt residents asking them to find higher ground or stay home?
10-4, standby. We have to get that approved with our supervisor.
All right, you hear that exchange. It would be 90 minutes from that call to when Kerrville's mayor told the Texas Tribune that he finally received that code red alert. Now, during that time, a roughly 30-foot wall of water decimated communities and children's camps along the Guadalupe River. And the 911 calls that you just heard referred to there on that emergency dispatch line, the 911 calls did not stop.
We received a phone call at our fire station to have a lady, she's frantic. She's at Casa Bonita, 117 Corto. Way or Casa Bonita lodges, and she said her children are on top of one of the cabanas and they're trapped.
The terrifying calls, one after the other, coming as right now, the painstaking search for 160 people still known to be missing is ongoing. They're looking right now as we're talking, and it's entering the 8th day. We are also getting a startling new image of the terror that so many had to endure during this storm. We'll show you this picture. This is from the boys' camp La Junta, right nearby, about 5 miles north of Camp Mystic. Camp Mystic, where, of course, 27 kids and counselors were known to have been killed. Here, though, this is in Camp Junta. You can see 5 kids clinging onto the rafters. I mean, look at them up there. If you could just look at that picture, clinging to the rafters in their cabin to survive. A mother of one of them tells us that a counselor helped the kids climb onto those wooden beams once the water had reached the top bunks, and there was nowhere else for them to go. They couldn't get out. Thank God, in that situation, everyone was safely evacuated. All those children are safe. We're going to have much more on this dispatch audio in just a moment, along with the man who recorded all of it. But first, Isabel Rosales is out front. She is in Center Point, Texas, on the desperate search for the missing. Isabel, another 24 hours. Still no one else is found, but still at least 160 missing.
Aaron, that is correct. And what I've seen here is a relentless coordinated effort at the local, state and federal level, also including volunteers. We've been here for days now and at this particular RV resort since this morning. And it's incredible seeing the hour by hour real time evolution of the progress, that they're making, moving all sorts of major debris like campers like this out of the way to make sure that they're checking that nothing and no body has been left behind. But at the same time, to what you were saying, Aaron, a grim fact that they haven't found anyone alive here in Kerr County for 6 days now.
You hear the dog barking right now.
A hit from a cadaver dog. So you're thinking that there could be remains in there?
Yes, ma'am. Possibly.
Sends Jordy Marks and his team into action. The private drone company owner launching a surveillance drone over the Guadalupe River to aid the Cajun Navy and first responders in their search.
We just heard the dogs get a hit, so I'm gonna scan that area and make sure, just make sure there's nothing there.
With more than 2,000 emergency workers on the ground, the search for the missing intensifying. Nearly a week after floods devastated this idyllic part of central Texas.
What I'm looking for is anything that's different in the water. Anything that stands out in the water, I'm going to zoom in that area.
It took days for the drones to get authorization to join the search after a private drone operating in the restricted airspace over the flood area struck an emergency helicopter on Monday. It was forced to make an emergency landing, and all drones were grounded from what has proven to be a challenging search. For the second day in a row, there remains at least 160 people still missing.
The current was so strong, I think it took people and put them underneath debris, and if people are just trapped in the debris, and while the water is receding, then we can start seeing more people.
Now they join teams continuing their search in the water and on the ground. Heavy machinery doing the heavy lifting, flipping over river-swept vehicles. FEMA task force is now on site, setting up command along the Guadalupe River. Search crews wading its waters, moving debris piece by piece. And it's not lost on people the gravity of this situation. 160 people missing, but really that is also a focus on bringing closure to these families. Force that set up a command post right here at this RV resort that's been destroyed. They're wrapping up for the day, Aaron, but they will be back tomorrow.
All right, Isabel, thank you so much on the ground there. And let's go now to John David Trollinger. He's the former information technology director for Kerr County. He told us he helped install the Code Red system. And I really appreciate your time, John, because I know, you were there listening, right? You were listening to these calls start to come in on dispatch. You were, recorded that and shared the audio that we have been playing for viewers. So you know how the whole system works. As you're monitoring the scanner traffic, the floods start. You do this, you as a hobby, you listen to this so everyone understands that. When you first heard something that signaled to you there is a problem, right? I understand it was at 3:27 a.m. I want to play what you heard at that time.
Yes, ma'am. Just for your 43, the Guadalupe is starting to come up, and Shoemaker is no longer passable at this time.
So, John, when you hear Guadalupe is starting to come up, Shoemaker is no longer passable at this time, you knew emergency. How come?
Well, that's the main highway that goes into Hunt. And that means EMS, fire, the sheriff's office can't get there. There might be a couple small roads that are still passable to go around, but it's a long way. But with the way it was raining, I knew that the river was coming up and that those low water crossings from there out to the west were already flooded, because I've been through that before. I've been in the sheriff's office dispatch when it's occurred previously, and us keeping minute by minute updates as the sheriff directed me to, as the previous sheriff Kerrville directed me to update the website to keep the public informed.
So are you saying as early as 3:27 a.m. that things could have played out very differently in terms of alerts and code reds and frankly, just to be blunt, hundreds possibly of lives saved?
Well, it's too late for Hunt. The water's up, and the volunteer fire department guy's been there. He knew it was coming because he's awake and he's sitting in his truck looking at it. But the water's come up, and the wall of water's heading down to Ingram. So you hear some radio traffic in a little bit that's going to warn people that warn to tone out Ingram that they need to start evacuating the RV park downriver. And I fully believe that a really quick action could have, and I'm not going to hindsight it all, but a quick action could have helped people downriver. But at 3:30, once it hit 4:30, it was just too late. The code red would have been ineffective, in my opinion.
And when you talk about the lives that could have been saved in those RV parks, I mean, we still don't know. 160 people are missing, right? We don't know where they may have died. We're going to find out. But I want to play again something else that stood out to you. This is a little bit later, John. So this is at 5:11 a.m. Here's what you heard.
We've got one female pulled out of the water. If you'll have more units come down to the end of Rolling Trail and go through the gate, she's going to need medical attention.
10-4, we're getting EMS in.
So that's 5:11 a.m., John. The mayor said that he didn't get the code alert until 6 a.m., right? So 50 minutes later, 49 minutes later. When you heard that at 5:11 a.m., what did you think? Obviously, you know, still hadn't gotten a code red.
Well, at that point, Aaron, the weather alert radar, or the weather reporting from the National Weather Service and all the other things, I had 3 radios going. It was just so busy that, you know, it all scrambled together. I didn't even think about, you know, what could be done at that point other than I might be able to call into dispatch. I had that thought briefly, but this first responder, he went in the river. I was listening to all these little bits of traffic that not everything was captured on the recorder, but that first responder went into the flooded Guadalupe River. And my family's been here for a very long time. I know exactly what it looks like when it floods, so I can picture it. And he could have easily died, but instead he rescued that woman. He pulled her out. Those are the people that really need the attention here.
I mean, the heroic acts of those first responders, and I know that, you know, the sheriff has said we're going to learn more and more about them, and hopefully we will. The individuals who are willing to, you know, to allow us to know what they did. Because, of course, they did it with the expectation no one would ever know. They did it because that's who they are and what they do. When do you think, John, that an alert should have been sent? And do you think that it would have saved, I don't know, would you maybe all of the lives lost, some of them? I mean, how do you see this when you take a step back?
Well, I've only got my direct experience with Sheriff Kerrville in dispatch and just how attuned he was to informing the public. I'm not going to second guess the dispatchers or the sheriff, but certainly when the National Weather Service and the Texas Emergency Management Agency Operations Center are staffing up, someone needs to be paying attention and prepare people in our county for for an emergency. Someone should be ready at 1 o'clock when the Weather Service said that there's going to be a flash flood. So the 1 a.m. National Weather Service call would be my my pick. That would be the latest that an alert could have gone out to the public that could have saved lives.
Of course, that's 5 hours earlier than it did. And you think about those hours. You listen to this, you listen to it that night, but now listening to it, I know you get emotional because you hear those voices. You know, some of those people may have survived, some did not. What is it like listening to all of this again?
Well, I've been able to heal up a little bit on Sunday. I had a lot of my my shipmates from when I was in the Navy. I had a lot of people that I've been able to connect with. I've gone up to the church. I've thanked first responders, but even after that day on Sunday, it's still, when I see the kids at the soccer field and their soccer coach and their family. It's just, I stopped for the first time ever, and I go running around the soccer field a lot. They see me out there all the time, and on Monday I stopped and talked to those kids and told them that I thought really well of the coach, and I was glad they were out there. It was noon, it was very hot, and we were all just getting it out of our system, getting exercise to it helps a lot, Aaron, to do that, exercise and diet.
John, thank you very much. I appreciate your time, and thank you for sharing all of that with us, to hear, in the moment, the raw, unfiltered moment of what happened. So thank you.
Search and recovery is going to be coming from the county tomorrow.
Why are they so late, though? I mean, why? These people have been here for a week, let's just say. And where's the county? I mean, I live here.
How long have you lived here on Windhaven?
This is Windy Valley.
Windy Valley, I'm sorry.
I've lived here 23 years.
23 years. Talk to me. Let me get the difficult question out of the way first. Talk to me about that night being woken up. I told you were swept under the water. Can you describe to me, as you're comfortable, about what happened?
Sure, absolutely. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. We had went to enjoy fireworks prior. I was home by 11. Went to bed naturally. I had a friend text me at 45 after. I was already asleep. Went to sleep, of course, and about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I only knew that because I was woken up by loud bangs and a watery sounding up against my back wall, which my head was right there on the wall. I woke Alyssa up as soon as I noticed outside that this boat had totally swung in my driveway, a totally different direction. I woke her up right away. She gets up, manages to round up a couple dogs that we had in the house. We get them in the room, and just about that time the kids come into the room, and there's really no time to make the plan that that could have happened, but there was no time. I had debris flowing by the front of my house, which shouldn't be. In the back I have a creek, but there shouldn't be debris flying, trees, everything. I had a grave number of boats in my yard, and they weren't there, so I already knew that the water had taken them down the stream. And so I was inside at this point, and Alyssa, we were running around, really not knowing what to do. So all of a sudden, I'm standing there, and the floor drops right out of the bottom of the house, and I only know that after looking the aftermath. But it was that my son just disappeared, and immediately after that, my daughter went in, and I don't know for sure, but I heard my wife take a deep breath, And at the same time she took the deep breath, the dresser from the floor that had collapsed falls on me. I fall into the crack of where the plywood in between the ground and all this concrete, somewhere there I was wedged on my leg.
Your
and
whole family gets swept in, basically.
Yes, we all get swept in. But I guess I was strong enough to pull myself out. But I didn't get out of the house until it was probably somewhere over here. But I was able to go down with the dresser, and then I was caught in the concrete. My leg's caught. I pull my leg out. I swim up, and there's no air in the room. There's just a little bit of where I could see, So I punch a hole in the ceiling, and enough to where I could get some, I could get my head up in there and get some air. And then go back down, and when I went back down and come back up, the house had split apart. So I was able to climb onto the roof, and I rode the roof. I don't know how far down the, river they picked me up, but.
And so, your son has been found. How's he doing? Or he
is no longer.
He's no longer.
Yes,
so
sir.
Both I must have misunderstood you earlier. I'm so sorry. So your wife and your son
and my daughter both fell through the cracks of the plywood when it fell into the deal, but it was one by one. Braxton went first.
How old was Braxton?
Braxton is 15.
Braxton or
Braxton? B-R-A-X-T-N.
And I'm so sorry for your losses. I mean, I can't imagine. How are you feeling today? That can't be easy.
I've managed the past few days since this has happened by the support of my friends, my great friends, and my mom always told me that she bled the blood of Jesus over me a long time ago, and I thoroughly believe that.
And your daughter, Felicity. How old is she?
She's 16.
16. She's still missing right now.
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about that anxiety as a parent.
The anxiety, the anxiety of it is really crazy because I'm not really happy with the fact that she hasn't been found. I'm happy for all the support and everything that's going on, and I do understand that there are a lot of circumstances, a lot of debris, a lot of stuff. At the same time, I have this woman here, and she's pulling and pulling and pulling, and I do believe that she will make it happen. 100.
And is there? I don't want to ask an insensitive question, but just to get where your mind frame's at, as a parent who's still missing a child, is there any hope at all at this point?
At this point, I do not have hope. If she is alive, she's 100% a superstar, and she's made it a long way, and definitely will need a lot of support behind that. But from what I saw in here and what I lived through, I really don't think so. I mean, there's no way. The house was moving, and they felt that way. We were facing that way. They felt that way, and that's just straight. The house gonna mow right over them.
I am so sorry.
I totally understand. It was very tragic. I understand that I might be talking out of line, but I lived it. If I'm hurting somebody's feelings out there,
You're not. I like to start heavy and kind of work my way. I want to end on take this to it. You're obviously dealing with a lot and grieving.
Yes, sir.
What does it feel like to see the community come together in this way?
I am so overwhelmed. I am so overwhelmed. I really wish that, I could had some way to repay them as, things I know they're taking away from their families. I know they're taking time and money. I'm a contractor myself, and being put out there voluntarily is a great thing. You feel whole, okay? And I would do it for someone, and I appreciate everybody out here doing things for me. And not only me, there's more people lost in this stuff.
And, you know, I guess we're told search and recovery is going to be coming from the county tomorrow.
Why are they so late, though? I mean, why? That's what, I mean, these people that have been here for a week, let's just say, and where's the county? I mean, I live here.
You must really, I mean, it's almost unfair for you to not have that closure, right? I mean, I'm sure you want to find Felicity so badly.
I do.
Just to have that closure.
Yes, and that's what it's all about, is closure. And with or without her, yes, I will get closure. But at the same time, I do have questions about before the storm, because I didn't get an alert. I live a mile from the fire station. They don't have a problem in the middle of the night running down the road to go, you know, check on somebody, give them a welfare check, you know, with their sirens on. How come there wasn't a fire truck driving up and down this road with sirens going? They have these big fancy lights. They shine them literally into my bedroom from that road. My bedroom is right here. Lights go into my bedroom. They shine. I mean, literally.
Last thing I want to ask you, you know, it's certainly an issue we're going to be talking about in the days and weeks to come about this response, which I think is being criticized for.
The response from the community is awesome. The response from Travis County has been literally hideous.
I want to ask you about just, you know, again, I don't know if it's a morbid question to ask, but like what's driving you right now? What's keeping you know, you're someone that's lost everything, and is it the community coming together, or talk to me about that?
I got several friends over here, and they'll all tell you I'm built different. That's basically all I can tell you.